My name is Ember Cole, and I was 29 years old when I found out that blood doesn't mean a damn thing once money hits the table. I'm an environmental analyst. Fancy way of saying I spend my days elbow deep in soil reports, groundwater tables, and land use histories. I can read the ground beneath my feet better than I can read the people who raised me. And yeah, that still sits with me. My grandmother, my dad's mom, her name was Margaret. But everyone called her Maggie. She had this farm about 2 hours northeast of Calgary, out in rural Alberta, where the sky never quits and the wind sounds like something breathing. I spent every summer there from the time I was 8 until I left for university. She'd show me how to read the soil by its color, how to tell where the water table sat just by the way the grass grew in spring. She'd say things like, "Ember, the land never lies. People do. But the land? It just waits." I didn't fully understand what she meant back then. I get it now. Maggie passed in late November. I remember because the snow hadn't really stuck yet, but the cold was that bone-deep kind that makes you feel alone even in a crowded room. I drove out to the farm the morning I got the call. The house was already quiet in that way a house gets when the soul leaves it. Nobody else showed up until the next day. My dad came first. Then my Aunt Carol and her husband. Then my cousin Derek with his new girlfriend who kept checking her phone every 3 minutes. They all stood in Maggie's kitchen, drinking her coffee and talking about the will like it was some kind of lottery ticket. Except there was no will. At least, that's what they told me. We checked everywhere, my dad said, not looking at me. Safe deposit box, filing cabinet, under the mattress. Nothing. She must have never gotten around to it. My Aunt Carol nodded. So we follow the rules. Estate gets divided equally among her children. That's how it works when there's no will. I was a grandchild, which meant I got nothing. And on paper, that's fine. Really. I wasn't expecting to get rich off my grandma's death. But here's the thing nobody talks about when someone dies without a will. It's not just about the money. It's about what the money means. Maggie promised me that farm would stay in the family. She promised me I'd always have a place there. She said it to my face, holding my hands in hers, the summer before she got sick. You're the only one who loves this land like I do, Ember. The rest of them? They see dollar signs. You see home. So yeah, it hurt. But I didn't fight it. Because what was I supposed to do? Sue my own family? Dig through legal documents I couldn't afford to have looked at? I was 29 years old, renting a 1-bedroom apartment in Calgary that smelled like the neighbor's cigarette smoke, working 40 hours a week and barely saving anything. I didn't have the money or the energy for a fight. So I let them sell it. The farm went on the market in March. Closed in June. Sold for $580,000. My dad and my aunt split it down the middle. I got a text from my dad the day the deal closed. It said, "Property sold. Sorry it worked out this way. Maybe take a weekend trip or something." A weekend trip. Like I could just replace 50 years of family history with a 2-night stay in Banff. I didn't respond. I just sat on my thrifted couch in the dark and listened to my upstairs neighbor vacuum at 11 p.m. And I thought about how quiet Maggie's farm used to be at night. How you could hear the coyotes yipping in the distance. How the stars looked like someone spilled salt across velvet. That was the worst part. The silence of my apartment compared to the silence of that land. But here's the thing about being an environmental analyst. You learn to be curious. You learn to ask questions like, what's underneath? Because the surface tells you something, but it never tells you everything. About 3 months after the sale, I was sitting at my work computer doing a routine records check for a client. Boring stuff. County land registries, subsurface rights, mineral claims. Standard Tuesday. And then, just out of nowhere, I typed in Maggie's old property ID. I don't know why. Muscle memory, maybe? Or some part of my brain that hadn't let go yet. The record came up fast. And that's when my heart stopped. Because according to the county registry, the surface rights, the house, the fields, the topsoil, those had been sold. But the subsurface rights? The mineral rights? Those were still active. Still registered. And they weren't registered under my dad's name or my aunt's name. They were registered under mine. I stared at the screen for a full minute. Probably longer. My coffee went cold. My coworker asked if I was okay, and I just nodded and kept staring, because what I was seeing didn't make sense. Maggie would have had to sign a legal deed separating the mineral rights from the surface rights while she was still alive. That kind of transfer isn't an accident. It's deliberate. It's specific. And the deed had been filed 12 years ago, when I was 17. The summer she taught me how to test soil pH with vinegar and baking soda in her kitchen. Stay with me, because this is the part where everything starts to crack open. I pulled the actual deed from the land registry the next morning. Cost me $40 and an hour of waiting at the county office. The clerk handed me the file and I sat in my car in the parking lot and read it 3 times. Maggie had transferred the mineral rights to me and only me 12 years before she died. No mention of my dad. No mention of my aunt. Just my name, Ember Cole. Legal description, parcel number, everything notarized and witnessed. But here's the thing my family didn't know and probably still doesn't know. Those mineral rights? According to the geological survey reports I pulled that same week, the area underneath Maggie's farm sits on a deposit of rare earth elements. The kind used in electronics, in batteries, in military equipment. The kind that mining companies pay millions to access. The surface sold for $580,000. What's underground could be worth 10 times that. And my family handed it to me on a silver platter the moment they said there was no will. They just didn't know it yet. So now you know what I found. Mineral rights. Registered in my name. Signed over by my grandmother 12 years before she died, back when I was still a kid who thought family was forever. And underneath that land? Rare earth elements. The kind that makes mining companies salivate. I didn't tell anyone at first. Not my dad. Not my aunt. Not even my best friend, Jenna, who's been in my corner since we shared a dorm room at university. I just sat with the information. Let it settle into my bones like a cold front moving in. Because here's the thing about revenge, real revenge, the kind that actually works. It doesn't come from anger. It comes from patience. From watching. From waiting until the right moment when everyone's guard is down. So that's what I did. I waited. 5 months passed. The farm was long gone. My dad bought himself a new truck with his share of the money. My Aunt Carol remodeled her kitchen. Granite countertops, stainless steel appliances, the whole deal. I saw the pictures on Facebook. She captioned them, "Hard work pays off." Hard work. She hadn't worked a day on that farm in 20 years. Meanwhile, I kept going to my job. Kept paying my cigarette smoke-scented rent. Kept pulling geological reports and county records in my spare time. Quietly. Like I was building a case I didn't even know the ending to. And then, in late February, a letter arrived. Thick envelope. Return address from a resource company in Houston. I almost threw it out with the pizza coupons. Instead, I opened it. A landman named Rick wanted to discuss a lease agreement. He'd done a title search and found me. I called him back the next day. "Miss Cole," he said with that slow Texas drawl. "We've been surveying the area. Those rare earth deposits are confirmed. We'd like to negotiate." He named a figure. A signing bonus, plus royalties on anything extracted. The bonus alone was more than I made in 3 years. I told him I'd think about it. Then I sat in my kitchen for an hour, just breathing. Because here's the part that almost broke me. I love that land. Maggie taught me to protect it. But mining would tear it open. I had to find a way to do both profit and preservation. That's where the trust idea started. But this story isn't really about the money. You probably figured that out by now. It's about what happened next. The exposure. The moment everything cracked open. See, my family still had no idea about the mineral rights. They thought the farm was done. Sold. Gone. But every year, the county holds a public landowner meeting. It's boring stuff. Zoning updates, tax assessments, mineral claim notifications. Most people don't even go. This year, my dad decided to attend. I found out why later. He'd received a notice from the county about potential mineral exploration in the area. It wasn't a bill or a warning, just a public hearing notice. But he got nervous, worried that something might affect the sale he'd already closed. So he went to check it out. I heard about it through a text from my cousin Derek. He'd mentioned it offhand, Dad's going to that county thing tomorrow. Think someone's digging near the old property. That was all I needed. The meeting was held in a small community center outside of town. Fluorescent lights, folding chairs, a jug of lukewarm coffee on a table by the door. About 30 people showed up, mostly farmers and old-timers. My dad sat in the third row. I sat in the back, behind him, wearing a gray hoodie and a baseball cap pulled low. He didn't see me, too focused on the agenda. The county coordinator ran through the usual stuff. Tax rates, drainage issues, new fence laws. And then she got to the mineral rights section. Item 7. Notice of mineral rights transfer and lease application. Parcel 4-21-53-25. Formerly owned by the estate of Margaret Cole. She didn't read my name aloud. That's not how these meetings work. Instead, she placed a stack of printed notices on the table. The current mineral rights holder has filed an application for evaluation. Copies are available for review. My dad reached for one. So did a few other people. I watched his face as he read it. His eyebrows went up, then down. Then his head snapped toward the front, like he was looking for someone. "Is there an issue, sir?" the coordinator asked. "This says the mineral rights are held by Ember Cole," he said, loud enough for half the room to hear. "That's my daughter." The coordinator nodded. "Then you can speak with her directly. The application is public record." He didn't wait. He spun around, scanning the rows. And that's when he saw me. Back row. Hoodie. Watching. "Ember?" His voice cracked. "What the hell is this?" I stood up. Slow. Deliberate. The way Maggie taught me to walk through a field so you don't scare the wildlife. "Hi, Dad," I said. Quiet. Calm. "Remember when you told me there was no will?" That grandma never got around to it. The whole room was watching now. Farmers in Carhartt jackets. Old women in quilted vests. The county coordinator with her pen frozen above the ledger. "She got around to it," I said. 12 years ago. She transferred the mineral rights to me. The surface was yours to sell. But what's underneath? That was always mine. My dad's mouth opened. Closed. Opened again. "You." He swallowed hard. "You knew about this? The whole time? While we sold the farm. While we split the money." "I found out after the sale," I said. "Took me about $40 and an hour at the county office. Something you could have done if you'd bothered to look." Silence. Someone coughed. My dad's hands were shaking. "We're family. You don't do this to family. You don't hide something like this." And that's when I said the line I'd been holding in my chest for 9 months. "Dad," I said, "you told me there was no will. You split the farm with Aunt Carol and sent me a text message." A text message. "Maggie made me promise to protect this land." And I did. The only person who hid anything was you. He didn't have an answer for that. He just stood there, red-faced and shaking, while 30 strangers watched his daughter tell the truth in a fluorescent-lit community center. He left before the meeting ended. So did my Aunt Carol, who I later learned he called immediately. Within a week, the whole family knew. And they were furious. My dad said I'd stolen from him. My aunt said I'd betrayed Maggie's memory. My cousin Derek posted a vague Facebook status about how money shows you who people really are. But you know what? None of them contacted a lawyer. Because they couldn't. The deed was legal. The transfer was valid. Maggie's signature was right there, notarized and dated. They had nothing. So what happened after? I went back to the landman. Negotiated hard. Got the signing bonus, capped the royalty rate, and added an environmental restoration clause. Then I took that signing bonus and set up a conservation trust legally separate from me. The trust owns the mineral rights now. The company pays royalties to the trust. And the trust pays for land restoration, wildlife corridors, and a small annual scholarship for agronomy students. The mining will happen. I couldn't stop that without walking away from everything. But I made sure that when they're done, that ground gets healed. Maggie would have understood. The signing bonus also paid off my debt, fixed my car, and covered first and last on a new apartment. One that doesn't smell like cigarettes. My dad doesn't talk to me anymore. Neither does my aunt. They tell people I'm difficult. That I held a grudge. Maybe they're right. But here's what I know for sure. Maggie didn't leave me the mineral rights because she wanted me to be rich. She left them to me because she knew I was the only one who'd ask what was underneath. The only one who'd dig past the surface. Family doesn't always mean family. But land? Land never lies. And neither do I.